All right, folks, about a year or so ago, I did a video showing my Roxxon tool and basically a gripe that I have with many multi-tools, and that is a lot of multi-tools are essentially, well, fluff and filler. Take example for this old Gerber right here. It's nice. Slides open like that. And that's kind of what I don't like because I have to open it up like this to get to the tools. There's a serrated blade. We have a file, which, I mean, I wish it was better. I wish it was a diamond file, but it's a file. And I guess that could also double as a flathead screwdriver. I have a knife blade. Then I have what I consider just almost useless items. Now this is less useless, I will admit. There are two flathead drivers there. One of them is a bottle opener, which I have a gripe with just about anything that has a bottle opener in it. Not that bottle openers are bad or useless in themselves, but on a multi-tool, come on. We have a can opener, which I have to say, I've used. It does work. You know, I can let a can opener slide. My gripe with this one, now this is not even a quarter, I don't know what this is. I don't even think it's a 1/4 inch driver. It may be, let's check it out. I doubt it. No. But this tool here, can somebody explain what the hell that is? So, I mean, that's just an example of what I'm talking about with some of these multi-tools that you get. So, in looking for a multi-tool, I came across the company Roxxon. A lot of people have done reviews on these things. I've done my review on it. Since then, I've gotten new implements. And what I like about Roxxon, let me rephrase this, what I love about Roxxon is that all these are interchangeable. In this particular one, I have, of course, there's your bread and butter right there, and you can see they've had some use. All right, I use my tools. You have the 1/4 inch bit driver. Love this thing. What I don't like and what I wish Roxxon would kind of fix, it'd be great if I could fit this double-ended driver in there because it fits almost perfectly. If this were just a little deeper to allow for like this is just too wobbly in here. Yeah, I can turn it this way. It doesn't move, but it's just way too wobbly. So you almost got it, Roxxon, but not quite. So I wish this was a little deeper. So I swapped out their number 2 Phillips for an extended one, and it fits just fine in there. You can't put anything bigger than that, though. But what I do use in conjunction with this and the companion, which I'll show you in a minute, is this little tiny guy, which has come in handy. So let's say, for example, I'm doing something that requires the use of a Phillips driver, a Phillips head screwdriver, but I can't get the actual screwdriver in there. Well, that's what this is for. So one side I can put a socket, the other side I can put a bit driver. It's magnetic, it retains pretty good, and I can slide in there and do some work, which I've already had to do before. So I use this little guy, which I forgot the name of it. I bought it online for like $7. Other brands make similar models. They make one that's more streamlined, that doesn't have the driver for the socket. It just has the bit driver, which you can then just get an extender for the socket. I think they're about $11 to $15. So in my Roxxon Flex, now I know they now have the Titan, which I want to get, but that's like $110 with everything loaded in it, which honestly is not a bad deal, in my opinion, not for what you get. But in mine, I've showed you the bit driver. On the other side of the bit driver, is my knife blade, which doesn't get all that, used all that much because I have other ways to cut things. Then I have the old school wire stripper and chisel combo. I like that. I've used it. It's come in handy. The rope cutter. This is great for zip ties, honestly. I do a lot of cable managing, and so if I'm cutting zip ties to undo some cables and whatnot, it's worked out great. The saw is great for my applications. I wish it was a drywall saw. However, on the Roxxon Titan, they have a drywall saw, or what looks to be a drywall saw, in there. But you cannot get it as a spare implement to change this out. I wish you could. So Roxxon, that's another thing that Roxxon needs to fix. But one thing that they did include recently is a wire stripper. And, us low voltage guys, even, primary electricians, these come in handy. But great, awesome, love it. I'm glad they did that. One thing that I wish they would do would be, and I would have to change some of these implements out, but something about this thickness, maybe even 5 implements thick, with a telescoping rod with an attachment to where you can thread a hook or a mirror or a decent magnet would be great. Preferably a hook. Again, I'm coming from low voltage side, cabling, access control, things like that. If I need to fish for a wire or reach for something, having something that can telescope out from, say, a few inches out to maybe just even 7 or 8 inches or more helps out a lot. So that's my Roxxon Flex. Once again, 1/4 inch bit driver, which is awesome. I just wish it was a little bit deeper. About 1/4 inch deeper would be great, in my opinion. And then the knife blade. Then saw, wire strippers, rope cutter, and a wire stripper chisel combo. I like this. Now I have other implements that I've had over the years, or over this past year. One of them is a hex driver, which I've had no use out of. I thought I would need it, but no. So on comes the companion. Now this is a recent purchase for me, and I've already used this thing quite a bit, for the limited time that I've had it. In my companion, and again, all these implements you can trade out for other ones that fit. Little pair of pliers. Now these are not gimmicky. They're smaller than I realized, honestly, but they're not gimmicky at all. They're pretty hefty. You gotta slide that out, all right. And I mean, they're there to grab things. They're there to do small tasks. They don't have the capability of these, true, but if I need to grab something, maybe, again, if I need to grab a piece of wire that I just can't grab with my fingers, these have worked out great. Another thing I have on the companion here, one I really like, and not only has it come in handy, but I've cut myself on it, is a box cutter. Good for cutting boxes, but also if you're stripping along the cable, especially if you're doing electrical cable. If you're, have to strip along the cable, not across. This is great. This is sharp, so be careful. I've already cut the hell out of my finger the other day, actually. So that's one of the tools I have on the companion. The other tool, which I do like, but I see a flaw, and I've seen the review online about this flaw, but I went ahead and used it anyway, and it has had its purpose, and I've seen that flaw. That is the T-shank holder. You can have different saw blades on here, and I'm pretty sure you can find aftermarket or other brand T-shank blades to put on here. This happens to be a metal blade. I have used this already to cut some metal, some small metal piping, etc., and it works great. The only problem is, again, it's a small tool. This isn't a hacksaw. This is, quick and dirty tool. My advice is, if you're using this and you're holding up something to cut, hold it here. It'll prevent this thing from slipping out. What happens is this part here does that. And if you're not careful, you'll be cutting, your finger might go here and push all this out. So hold the whole thing if you have to, like that. Don't hold it here. You'll end up pushing this out and your blade will fall out. And when the blade falls out, I can get that off now, it has these little shims. I'm sure you can get replacements for them if you contact Roxxon, if you lose these things, but they need to figure out a better way to hold this T-shank. So if you're going to use this thing, clamp down on that sucker and then saw. What I didn't know about the companion, of course I knew about the bit driver, is that it came with a set of tweezers and a little toothpick. Now, I like this color. This is great. I love it. And again, everything that fits in the flex can fit in here. So great on Roxxon's part. So that's just my quick dirty review on Roxxon, the tools that I have by them so far. I really want to get the Titan. That looks to be an awesome tool, especially with that drywall saw. But I would love to have a drywall saw to fit in my flex. I think that would be awesome. I think Roxxon does a good job at making modular tools that are somewhat affordable. They're not gimmicky. They don't have a lot of fluff and filler. It is literally, you build the tool that you want. And that's why I went with them. Sorry about that. That's why I went with them, because I wanted to build my tool for me that I know I'm going to use every day, at least, you know, when I don't have my actual dedicated toolkit on me. So on the fly, if I'm out and about or my toolkit is somewhere else and I need to do a task, that's what the multi-tool is for. I love the companion. It is great. I think the tools that I picked out of the companion, which can also fit in the flex, so I can buy additional ones, I think that's a great combo, honestly. You have a cutting implement, you have a sawing implement, and here's the thing. The sawing implement comes with additional blades, different saw blades for wood, metal, etc. Here they are. So I think the saw blade, I forgot how much I paid for it, maybe $11, maybe less. The pliers, even though they're tiny, they do the work that you need them to do. They're for grabbing things. The box cutter is a great little cutting implement, especially if you're opening boxes or stripping down cable. It works. It works. So, you know, hats off to Roxxon. You know, I'm not a brand name kind of guy, but this is a brand name that I so far love. Since I've owned this one and recently purchased this one, I love my Roxxon tools. So I just wish there was a few things that they would fix. I wish that T-shank holder was easier to change out the blades. It's not hard, but you got to keep track of those little shims. And I wish it wouldn't be so easy to, you know, come apart while you're actually using it. And that's why I said, when you are using that T-shank blade, because I've heard people complain about it and I've seen the reviews online, the way it works for me is I clamp a hold of that thing and I hold on to that. And yeah, I'm not getting a full cut, but if I'm cutting something small that requires cutting and I don't have a full-size hacksaw on me, that's what this is for. And it works out fine. It works out just fine. So I praise these tools. I really do. I've had people look at them while I'm at work and they're like, what is that? Where'd you get that? And, you know, I talked to them about it and I said, yeah, there they are. So that's my review on the Roxxon. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a while since I've done any kind of videos like this. I've been uploading shorts just because they're easier and fun. I want to thank you all personally for your heartfelt comments regarding the loss of my cat. It means a lot. She was an incredible, incredible animal. As all the animals I've ever had are incredible to me. You know, whether they're my dogs, my cats, or my geckos for that matter. So look for more videos. More rock hounding videos will come. I have not slowed up on that. I just have not had much opportunity to film anything. So look for more videos on that. Thank you guys for watching. if you're into multi-tools, if you're into just DIY or collecting these things or whatever, pick yourself up a Roxhorn. I'm not sponsored by them, not that kind of channel, but I do endorse them. So that's about all. Peace out.